A man who suppresses his sexual energy will always be controlled by it. And I think a lot of men, including myself, we've spent our entire lives trying to suffocate this part of ourselves when I don't think it was ever supposed to die. We were basically given two options growing up: either give into the sexual urges or be ashamed that we have the urges in the first place. Don't look, don't think that, don't feel that, stop wanting. And I just don't think that's how it works, because you can spend your entire life trying to control your sexual energy while your entire life is still revolving around your sexual energy and you're still being controlled by it. You're just running away from it instead of running towards it. So the best analogy that I've found for this is, think of it like a dog that's inside you. Like you got that dog in you. And every time that dog comes out of its cage growing up, you beat it, you yell at it, you tell it it's disgusting, that it shouldn't be there, and then you shove it back into its cage. And then it comes out again, and so you beat it, you shove it back inside, and imagine doing that for 10, 20 years. And then one random Tuesday, the cage opens up and the dog goes absolutely insane, and you're sitting there like, what is wrong with this dog? And it's like, brother, look at how you've been treating it. Of course it doesn't know how to behave. You've never trained it. You've literally just punished it. And I think that's where a lot of men do with their sexual energy growing up, especially in more of like a Christian or biblical state. They never actually learn how to be in relationship with their sexuality. And they've learned to just be scared of it or hate it. And the problem is the dog isn't going anywhere. If this was an actual dog that you absolutely hated, you could technically just get rid of it. But you can't give away your sexual energy. You're a sexual being, and the intensity might decrease as you get older, but that part of you is going to be with you your entire life. So maybe the question isn't, how do I suppress this? How do I control it? Maybe the question is, how do I build a relationship with it? Because there's a massive difference between suppression, indulgence, and integration. Suppression says, I shouldn't feel this. This is bad. Get this out of me. Indulgence says, I feel it, therefore I must act on it. And integration says, I feel it, yeah, I'm not scared of it, and I still get to choose what I do next. And to me, that is what freedom really is, because in a hypersexualized world, we can't get away from porn or all those other things. Like, we have to learn to see those things, be in relationship with our own sexual energy, and choose not to indulge in that. So Carl Jung, he's like one of my favorite guys that I listen to. He brings up this idea that's really interesting. And basically that there's two parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at. He calls it the shadow, or there's a part of ourselves he calls the shadow. It's the part that we reject. It's the part that we hide. And he has a famous line that says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And whether he's talking about anger, jealousy, fear, sexual energy, whatever, if you keep saying this isn't part of me, I'm not that kind of person, you don't necessarily make it disappear. You just push it into the basement. And it's still in your house. Now you just don't know what it's doing down there. And I think that's where, sexuality can be so powerful, and just say, yeah, like, I am a sexual person. I do feel attraction. I do feel desire. And, I'm not ashamed of that. And that doesn't mean that you obey every single urge. That doesn't mean you go watch porn every time you feel tempted. It doesn't mean you throw away your values. It actually means the opposite. It means that you can now choose what you want to do with it. There's this quote, I don't know who it's from, but it says, no man is free who is not a master of himself. But I think that's where guys can really confuse what mastery is. I don't think mastery is just like suppression or like becoming numb. It doesn't need to turn you into some robot that doesn't want anything. Real mastery is being able to feel strongly without immediately becoming its servant. Like, you can feel angry without like wanting to punch someone. You can feel afraid but still move forward. That's courage. You can feel sexual desire and not automatically need to do something about it. And I believe that's what strength is. And another way to look at this is your sexual energy is like water. And imagine it's just this river that's flowing through you. And on one extreme, you try and just dam everything up. And you just build this giant wall and say, no water is getting through until, I'm married, or until, whenever. But the water just keeps coming, and it builds more pressure and more pressure and more pressure. And eventually it starts to leak somewhere, or the dam breaks. And the other extreme isn't much better. You don't just blow up the dam. The river ends up destroying your entire town. The goal is to learn how to channel this energy, this water, give it somewhere to go. The goal isn't just to stop it, it's to decide where it goes. And, if you're horny, it's like, cool. You don't always need to do anything about it. Go lift, go run, go build something, go write something, make art, work on your business, go connect with your wife. Take that literal fire, that energy that we have inside of us, and go put it somewhere else. Desire creates activation. Like, it actually is something inside of us. And so there is energy there, and you can decide what to do with it. You don't need to put the fire out. It's let's learn how to cook with it. And so going back to the dog analogy is like, so how do we actually retrain this dog? So the first thing is we need to stop beating the dog, not literally, but just figuratively, to stop beating it. When the desire shows up, you don't need to immediately shame yourself or call yourself weak. You don't need to panic. You don't need to go, oh my gosh, not again. I'm never going to do this again. I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Just notice it and just say, wow, I feel this energy. I'm attracted to something. I am turned on. The urge to do something is strong here. That is information. That is not an emergency. And second is learn the dog. When does it start freaking out? When is it actual sexuality and not just escapism? When is it stronger? Is it when you're stressed, when you're lonely, you're bored, when you get rejected, when you're exhausted, if you doom scroll for 3 hours? Some people call it lust when it's really just the nervous system begging for relief. So third practice is feel those uncomfortable feelings without needing to get rid of them. Walk, breathe, sit still for a minute. Feel it in your body and realize to yourself, I can actually feel this and nothing bad happens. I don't have to fight it, but I also don't have to obey it. And that, I believe, is training. And then the fourth thing is give that energy somewhere healthy to go. Move your body, create, connect, work, or express your sexuality in healthy ways that align with your values. So, for example, if that's with your spouse, if you aren't part of like hookup culture, but you do have sex before marriage, like just making sure that's with a connected person, or like if you want to experiment with self-pleasure, like make sure it aligns with your values. And again, the answer isn't to be perfect. It's just to make sure that you're in control, right? And so name and imagine the dog again. And it's like you've had it your entire life. You don't need to kill it, and you don't need to keep it locked in this dark cage forever. But if you're walking down the street with this dog and it sees something exciting, you can train it. You can respect how powerful it is. You can build trust with it. And eventually you can open up the cage without being terrified of what happens next. So maybe the goal was never to become more sexual. Maybe the goal is to become the man who is no longer afraid of his sexual energy. A man who doesn't need to constantly feed it, but also doesn't need to constantly fight it. Like, he can feel desire, he can hold it, and he can also direct it. He can choose. You don't become free by killing this fire inside of you. You become free by understanding it and learning how to control it in a healthy way that aligns with your values.